All right, I'd like to call to order the May 20th, 2026 work session of Lower Stafford Township Board of Supervisors, and ask everyone to join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That brings us to our public comment agenda item. Is there anyone wishing to be recognized? See no one, I'm going to take the floor for a second and just thank everyone who came up yesterday and exercised their freedom to vote, and especially those who voted in favor of passing the referendum. 50 or 100 years from now, folks may look back and say, where did this earned income tax come from? Well, it came from a vote in our primary election yesterday in an effort to have funding source to purchase the Outback track and take care of our open space. So for all those who were involved, I am truly grateful. And now the hard work of getting this thing in place begins. So I thank the 5 that are seated here, as well as all of the folks who had a hand in getting that. So yeah, that's very good. Moving right along, I'll take an motion to approve the work session minutes of May 5, 2026 and or April 15, 2026. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next up, Public Works Director, Mr. Jones.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Update on some projects. The Main Street sidewalk project is nearing completion. Sidewalks in, the handicap ramps are in, the retaining walls in. Looks like there's just some paving and grading left to do. So
Porta potties out of the road.
yeah. So hopefully by this time next week we'll be looking for a punch list. So get that work done. It's been a long time coming. Burgess Mill Road Bridge. There's no word from the county on what their plans are moving forward yet. So still waiting for that, and I'm still trying to coordinate with H&K regarding the outstanding issues at the park. Southwood Quarry, I reached out to them for an update on their schedule. Just haven't gotten an update on that, so I'm still anticipating that they're moving forward with the steel panels and then to be completed sometime probably in August before the school starts. The Sewer Authority Quarry Road Force Main project, that's moving along. They've completed the section from Morris Road to just north of Stover Road. So they're out of the shoulder, they're into the roadway now. So at least I think people that need to will have access to Stover Road. So that project is moving along. We're struggling a little bit with that because of the Rife Stream Bank project is taking up a considerable amount of time, and then also trying to get all the roads ready for our resurfacing program for this year. So that might get pushed a little bit, and we'll just, we'll manage traffic when we're doing that work. It would have been nice to take advantage of the closure, sure, but I just don't think the timing is going to work out for us this year. But yeah, before we do the plan is to resurface that road next year. Once the trench has had an opportunity to settle, all the final pavement restoration has been done. So then we'll make sure that all of our work is done in advance of that. So, the Sewer Authority is also looking at a sanitary sewer main and lateral replacement project on Moyer Road. This is the older section from Alderford to Ruth, where they got a grant to do the project, do the work. So it extends the entire length of that little loop, and then it also goes from Manor to where the Alderford Trail connects to that trunk line. So met with Craig yesterday just to go over the project. So there's going to be a lot of disruption in that neighborhood. Looking at a fall start date for that project. And then we're coordinating our efforts we've got some storm sewer in there that we would like to address. And then also the plan is to do a full mill and overlay on that road once everything's completed. So. Harleysville material street sweeping. It's not been going well. I've been, reaching out, trying to get progress reports and updates from the quarry and, have not gotten a response yet, so. And we're getting questions from residents about, you know, when's the street sweeping gonna happen, so, we have the capability of doing some limited with a loader and a sweeper that's attached to the loader, but it's not ideal. So we'll still keep pushing on that to try to get that done. Our traffic signal communications, we had a fiber connectivity issue with the Main Street system. So there was an issue between Culp Road and Maple Avenue. So that has been resolved. Still have some camera issues at Oak Drive and 113. The police department hasn't been able to see the cameras anywhere west of Culp Road through their MView platform. So we're working with our Higgins and Signal Control Products to try to get that issue restored. The Oak Drive right turn lane extension and the sidewalk. I was able to connect with Mr. Fonseca. He's the corner property. So he is amenable to providing an easement for the sidewalk, and that's his preference rather than right of way acquisition. So solicitor's office is sent.
And you will strike while the iron is.
It's already been done. There's been, you know, letters and the agreement been sent to him directly. So hopefully within the next few weeks, we'll have that and trying to get that incorporated into the project. So that that can go out to bid for this fall.
How did you reach him in person or on the phone?
I knocked on the door. Andrew and I were driving by and he happened to notice that the front door was open. So I went back and knocked on the door. Said, it's been a while. How you been? So, but he was fine. He was.
You just don't go away.
Yeah, we're always here. Like it or not, we're always here. But, and he was very cordial, very amenable to what we wanted to do. He was thrilled to death that we installed the four-way at Moyer and Oak. I'm sorry?
I know there were some people who were, now he said that we're favorable.
He was very concerned about installing a sidewalk there without it, because he's been, you know, witnessed of you know, a number of accidents where vehicles that ended up in his front yard or along his tree line and that kind of stuff. So he was very concerned about that.
Through those trees.
Right. So that was one of the things that he was concerned about. And he also has some concerns about the potential if we were to acquire the right of way for, you know, any improvements or widening for additional lanes or that kind of stuff. This way with an easement, he still retains all of his property rights. And if something were to happen in the future, we would have to revisit the whole issue. So I think this is the easiest path forward and satisfies all concerns. So awesome. Moving forward on that. Signal modernization projects. This is for Main and Huntsberger and Main and Maple. Armor and Sons working on installing foundations at Huntsberger for the new mast arms and the pedestal poles, and I'm assuming they're going to move to Maple Avenue next. That won't happen until the fall. Obviously, the mast arms are a 6-month lead time, so they're doing all the prep work, everything they can, all the conduits, all that stuff now. So, Stover Road Bridge replacement. Stephanie from Bowman and I met with Mr. Neckel, the property owner right there at the bend and at the bridge, about the changes in the right of way and any construction easements. So just kind of the overall changes in the geometry of the roadway and the location of the bridge, and just so they had a better understanding. So where we left is we're gonna go back out there and just put some stakes in and put some paint marks on the ground so they has a better idea, so can visualize what the changes are gonna look like. So we're working on that. He also questioned about the possibility of doing some work along the frontage of the one house. That's next to the barn. I guess the first house you approach as you're coming off of Main Street, there's a retaining wall there. He's not thrilled with how attractive it looks and would like to make changes. So Stephanie and I talked about, the original plan showed the right of way staying where it was, so we may just move that right of way back. This way, any work that he does would be outside the right of way and wouldn't create any issues moving forward. So I think that's where we're headed, and then we would just need an easement for the storm sewer system that's in that location. So we're working on that. The Jacob Rife Stream Bank project, phase 2. We've been working like crazy out there. We've been fighting water, and that site is, we had 0.3 of an inch of water a week ago and shut us down for 2 days. Just because the site got so sloppy. So we're fighting groundwater. We're trying to figure a way to get the basins to finally dry up, because it seems like we're constantly wicking either a spring or something, or the creek's bleeding back into the basin. So we're fighting that challenge. We've got everything rough graded. We're working on trying to get things final graded and trying to get the bottom of the basin stabilized enough so that we can then drive on it and do the final preparation and grading. We've hauled probably 2,000 yards of soil out of that site between decreasing the slope of the stream bank, the one stilling pond. There's a small stilling pond that leads from the riffle pools. It goes that ends up there. Then we got an issue there with the bottom of that basin not drying up as well. And then the larger basin, there's been a lot of material that we've hauled out, and we've also hauled in over 150 yards of amended soil, and probably 5 or 6 truckloads of compost that we're going to mix in with all the material, so that A, that it drains, and B, that it's clay soil, so we give the plants the best opportunity to thrive and survive. So working on that. We do have our little show this afternoon. So we have a conservation district. I think it's the state conservation district that's going to be there at 1 o'clock to look at the project, and then the Secretary of Agriculture at 2:30. I have no idea as to who else is going to be there, or we're getting very limited information, from whoever's coordinating this. So,
Would you be interested in having any of us there?
if you're more than welcome. That's why I sent the information. If you want to attend, please feel free. Yeah, absolutely. So. Again, I don't know who else is going to be there, and things are being coordinated through, I think it's Representative Webster's office, and then going through Ryan, and we're getting it from Ryan Belts from the Watershed Conservancy, because he was able to secure some partial funding for the project from the Department of Agriculture, and that's the driving force behind this. They're funding projects like this through one of their programs, and want to use like our site as kind of a model for trying to encourage more of these types of projects.
Ryan,
So,
be there.
I'm sorry?
Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. So just some other department activities. Started our roadside mowing first round this year. We're doing base repairs for some of the roads that are going to be resurfaced. And part of that is, repairing stormwater inlets and looking at all the pipes. And we also participated, about half the staff participated in the 2-day chainsaw training. We do a lot of our own tree work, so felling trees, and that's part of it is doing it safely. And the instructor, and this is all provided through Divot, our insurance provider. It's one of their value-added services that they bring a trainer in. I think the guy's from North Carolina that comes in, travels the country doing this, and it's a pretty intense training. His first day is just kind of basic stuff, and then he shows everybody how to fell a tree, and then on the second day, everybody gets an opportunity to do it themselves. And there's a lot more involved than just, okay, let's just cut it and let it fall. It's getting it to fall where you want it to fall. So there's a lot involved in that. You guys are doing really well, and it gives us the confidence moving forward that, you know, we can tackle some of this work and do it safely and without impacting property or putting anyone in harm's way.
It's a very economical way for us to get rid of some of the trees. that we need to
Absolutely,
get rid
with all the dead trees and with all the, you know, things that are, you know, that are impacting our public spaces, and yeah, it gives us an opportunity to do things in-house that,
Especially after storms, right? I mean, the current trails, roads, it's just,
yeah,
it's good for us.
absolutely is. And it's good training. The guys like it. They, you know, it's something different that, you know, and they take it as a challenge.
Needed skill.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all that I have. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Jones? Moving right along.
Thank you.
Assistant Chief,
Yes.
soon to be.
Rumor has it.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning. Department update, we're prepared and ready for Country Fair Days. The only thing outstanding is hoping the weather cooperates. I do want to give kudos to the JCs with the new setup again. Each year it gets better. I don't know how it gets better, but with that new some race car thing in the middle, that's going to keep people from congregating in the middle. So we do appreciate that. I have crime stats listed here. There is an inquiry from the public regarding our crime stats. Essentially, what are we doing on a daily basis? They had seen it from a neighboring department that they had it posted. So with the assistance of Christina and Grace, we are now posting our monthly crime stats on the township website under the police department's webpage. So we then went backwards and did essentially starting January of 26 onward. So on a monthly basis, I'll be sending that report to Christina and Grace, and then they'll upload that to the website. Great. Last thing I have here is ICE operations. There was a question that came up a few weeks ago regarding our stance on ICE and what we're going to do. I did send out a joint statement by District Attorney Kevin Steele and Patrick Malloy, who was last year's Chief of Police President. Essentially, we don't get involved with ICE operations. Immigration is a federal responsibility. There's a 287G agreement that could be signed, which would essentially deputize us to enforce those civil warrants for the ICE and detention of immigration issues. We are not part of that. Montgomery County is not part of that. We do not inquire about immigration status on any contacts that we have with the public. So that's our stance. We are not getting involved. And unfortunately, from departments that have had contact with these types of situations, ICE isn't exactly coming to the PD and saying, hey, we're going to go to 123 Main Street to serve this warrant. They do their thing and they find out afterwards. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer those, but we are not getting involved with any immigration issues.
So that county statement that you sent out, that's basically how I read it was. That informs us all of the rights that we have as citizens and the obligations we have in the Constitution. If there are federal agents coming in to do with a warrant, what they are authorized to do, we can't obstruct it.
Correct.
We can video it, but we can observe it, but we cannot obstruct it.
Correct.
So at that point, if the citizen is following their rights, I mean, we can't stop the ICE officers from removing them.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's the federal agents will do what they're going to do. If they were to come to us and say, hey, this is where we're going, we'll be there as perimeter support, but we are not actively getting involved with any enforcement of any immigration warrants. And as you had pointed out, we all have body cameras on, so we're going to record, to the best that we can exactly what's going on. That way, if there are any issues, we'll certainly have that.
Could we ask to see the judicial warrant?
Absolutely.
We can ask to see that,
Mhm. Yes,
have them provide that,
correct.
but then at that point, they've got the authorization they need to do what they're gonna do.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And I can tell you, I went back as far as I could through our records management system. We've never had a request from ICE. And there's never been any documentation that ICE was in Lower Salford Township doing any type of enforcement detail. So we're hoping to keep it that way.
Thank you.
Sure.
Another question. So they're allowed to have access to public space.
Mhm.
But if they came to you and asked for private records or anything, eventually do private records. What would we do?
Well, they would be entitled like anybody else would. If they're looking for copies of police reports, we would certainly give them those copies of police reports. But as far as using facilities here, using our holding cells or anything like that, that wouldn't be happening. And my understanding as well is Montgomery County stance on it. Montgomery County Correctional Facility is not going to be housing any detainees based solely on an immigration mark. If there's criminal charges related to it, they'll hold them on the criminal charge. But as far as just a straight up immigration, they're not holding. And we're not going to hold
And
them.
our cells here are temporary anyway.
Correct.
We don't keep people overnight.
Any other questions for
That's all I have.
Sarah? Thanks for the thorough update on that. Moving right along, building and zoning director, Mr. B.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So far this month, we've issued 41 permits. One of those permits was for 34 Morris Road, which you recall that went in front of the zoning hearing board for continuance of an existing non-conforming use. It was a couple of apartment units in there. So now they finally submitted the building permit application and are issued the permit. And so they're starting construction on that. Another zoning hearing board update for May 14th, we heard the application of 351 Cricket Lane, which was the small building addition that was encroaching within the 50-foot setback to the high tension power lines. That was denied for lack of hardship. The Planning Commission at the last meeting heard the Indian Valley Regional Planning Commission comprehensive plan update that we've been talking about in previous meetings. And the Planning Commission gave the recommendation to reallocate that area that's on the other side of the turnpike as secondary growth. And so the next step of the process, if the board chooses to make a motion, it doesn't have to be this meeting, but meetings regarding the desire for the Board of Supervisors to have that joint comprehensive plan updated to indicate that secondary growth in that area. And I
So
can,
wait, Mike, say that again, please. So the planning commission all kind of approved that move.
recommended it.
They recommend.
Recommended it,
Yes,
and now it's on our desk.
right.
Make the change.
If you want, you can do nothing and it can just stay. Stay rural.
It's R1A, yeah, rural residential.
Or you can have it changed to secondary growth, or you can have it changed to designated growth. It's up to you. But the planning commission recommended secondary growth.
As did the Indian Valley Regional Planning Commission.
That's where it started.
Yeah.
Sorry. So would that be item for our?
I would say at this point, it'd be a work session agenda item to discuss.
Okay.
And then if you want to take action, would we want to bring in Eric Jarrell? So we can do that at the regular June meeting.
We can leave it at zero again. It lays the groundwork for changing the zoning.
Right.
Ultimately, that's what it's ship is headed, so I want to just make sure we lay the proper foundation for it, and then we understand and the rationale behind what it is. Okay.
So that leads into another discussion item that we have ongoing is the 110 Castle Road sketch plan, which was already heard by the planning commission, and as you know, sketch plans don't go anywhere, they just basically get a zoning review from the county, a zoning review from our township engineer, and then a discussion with the planning commission. So 110 Castle Road is the farm, the Moyer farm on the other side of the turnpike associated with the secondary road for the comprehensive plan. And the applicant for 110 Castle Road submitted an ordinance amendment to allow that type of development. That has been reviewed by our township solicitor and is currently being reviewed by the county and our township engineer, which is the typical process for this sort of thing. And so that is going to be on the agenda at the next planning commission meeting, which is next Wednesday, to discuss that ordinance amendment.
When does that mean? Next Wednesday evening?
Correct.
7:30.
7:30. The solicitor's office is also working on ordinance, the amendment to the zoning ordinance regarding data centers. So they've done this previously a couple of times or more for other municipalities, and so they are prepared to do the same for Lower Southford. And I spoke to Andy Freeman yesterday about it, and the idea at this point would be to consider adopting an ordinance that regulates data centers and leave it open to have that ordinance amended in the future, but basically to have something in the books as quickly as possible, just to have something in the books in the ordinance, just in case the data center proposal comes in the township, and then fine tune it if needed in the future. Okay, so that's the main idea there.
We get that on the agenda for next week?
For the next month, June?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get an authorization to advertise.
Well, we don't have the ordinance yet.
No, but you can put it on for authorization to advertise, right.
Because I know, I've also heard some townships do like as part of their ordinance, they have like a moratorium. Where there's, I think permits can't be processed for a certain amount of time until the township has room for discussion and decision.
So I spoke to Andy about that as well, and he said that he doesn't necessarily advise that because the process basically says that your zoning ordinance is incorrect in some way.
Okay,
and
see that.
to officially say that, and apparently I believe Montgomery Township did this.
Okay.
And it gives them 180 days to come up with an ordinance, in which time they're safe from any application, but that's not.
He's divided against that, okay,
Right.
tighten the ordinance down.
Right, yes, that's correct.
And if he has something in place and it gets before the planning commission relatively quickly, this can all be done in less than 180 days.
Correct, yes.
So, I mean, the process could be 60 days, from, your authorization. And then it gets advertised, goes to PC, gets advertised, and then back to you. So, we should be able to turn it around rather quickly, at least this initial draft. And then it's, things go forward, we can make tweaks to that draft and then you can do that process again, but at least we'll have something in place.
Makes sense. So in the upcoming planning commission meeting, we have the LPOD ordinance amendment that I spoke about, the data center ordinance amendment that we just spoke about. And also 531 Main Street, which is Clemens Mill, the planning module. That was already recommended for final approval at the previous planning commission meeting, but It hasn't come to the board for final yet because they needed to do too many things. And so one of those things is the planning module. So that's why the planning module is on the agenda for the planning commission, but not on the board agenda yet for final.
And that's for sewer service. On the side.
Right, planning modules for sewer design, yeah, sewer service. And upcoming, we just received an application for a lot line adjustment on Bergie Mill Road, which happens to be right next door to Bergie Mill Park. Right next to right close to the bridge at 645 and 677 Bergie Mill Road. So it's not a subdivision, it's just adjusting the lot line between the two lots. And so far, we do not have a developer item on for June agenda.
Oh,
Nor do we have a zoning hearing board meeting.
it'll be a quiet meeting. All right, very good. Anything else, Mr. Buffy? Any questions or comments for planning? Great, sounds good. Moving right along, Mr. Jakowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just going to give a brief update on our first quarter financials. Revenues are tracking as per normal. Where revenues as of April 30th, May 1st, $4,147,000, which is 40% of our budget. Expenditures are at $3,258,000, which is 27% of budget. These are tracking very similarly to the last few years. And so I would expect that if things move as they are, then we should end up at the end of the year again with a budget surplus. So we're in good shape so far.
Very good.
But as you know, kind of everything goes, it's never a straight line. So, I don't want to make a hard and fast prediction, but as I like to say, as the chief likes to know that I like to say, past is prologue. We're doing good.
We're doing well by force. One thing I'd like to at least start the conversation with enacting the 4% earned income tax in the path forward. There are plenty of folks out there asking now, kind of what's next.
Right.
So
We'll get all that information
we'll lay
together.
that out, kind of a timeline of events that are gonna occur and circulate that and get it up on the website would be great.
Yeah, we'll try to have a process lined up for the next work session. June 2nd, we'll have that information and then folks can review it and then we can post it. The website and other social medias.
How are we doing on our rate of timeline?
I believe we're in good shape. I think we have like 120 days or something from once the referendum took place. Pretty.
No, we had the money to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. It's a possibility. We'll tell you what came. All right, very good. Any questions for Mr. Jakowski? Do we have need for executive session this morning?
We do not, Karen.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, then with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
I'll second. Sorry. Move to second, and all in favor say aye. Aye. Those say nay. Motion carries. Enjoy Memorial Day weekend. See everybody on June 2nd.